Hello all, this is United Talk, some more football talk on a walk. You know what really annoys me? Is the constant disrespect of our club legends and this tag that they're overrated. Flipping winds me up. So I'm going to talk about why this is nonsense. For a bit of context, I was at work yesterday talking to a guy. He's about half my age, and that'll be a point. That'll be a point why it becomes apparent to mention that in a bit. But yeah, he's a gooner, and he's a bit of a realist. We kind of see football in the same terms, what's good, what's bad. But yeah, so that's kind of what set me off. So I was in work and he said to me, he was listening to a football podcast, and he said, "Oh, you wouldn't like what's being said on here." So I was like, "Go on." He said, "Oh, it's a podcast about overrated Premier League." I don't know if it was 11, but it was a number anyway. So first of all, I was like, let me guess, Ryan Giggs, because I've seen this before. Ryan Giggs overrated, and it's absolute nonsense. I've seen it about on social media. So let me tell you why that is nonsense. For one, the guy has 13 Premier League winners' medals. 13. How can you be overrated? He was in a club, not a team, a club, under the most dominant manager there has been in that competition, in multiple different teams that manager put together, and was an integral part of them. He has won a Champions League twice. He has got the most assists in that competition, and he's overrated. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, this thing they've got, Premier League Hall of Fame or whatever it is, how is Ryan Giggs not in that? And for that matter, how was he not the first name in that? That is a joke. Now they say it's to do with the off-field stuff, right? But I'm pretty sure that John Terry is in it. And John Terry, I'm not here to push on what it was, right or right, like whether he done it or he didn't, I don't know. But I know that there was things that he allegedly did, which is much worse than what Ryan Giggs did. So if Ryan Giggs' off-field stuff means that his reputation is tarnished and he can't then be recognised in a Hall of Fame of a competition that he is the most decorated, how is John Terry in it? That is just nonsense. That beggars belief. But no, Ryan Giggs wasn't in it, fortunately. But like I say, I have heard that before, and it's a joke. I mean, so again, why it becomes apparent there was a point to make that my mate is like half my age, because he said, "Oh well, he wasn't really amazing. He didn't excel like in a position, like he didn't have like a Kevin De Bruyne." And I was like, hang on a minute. This guy was an incredible winger, tricky winger, and then reinvented himself to become a cultured centre midfielder, to the point that at like 38 years old, he was the best player on the park when we played Real Madrid in the Champions League. I cannot see how he is overrated. It's beyond me. And this is what I mean. So the people keep labelling these players overrated, are they all that sort of age where they haven't watched these players? They haven't watched them, so how can they therefore say that they're overrated? But yeah, so the first one he brought up was Nemanja Vidic. This is the podcast guy, by the way. And obviously it's being relayed through my mate at work. And yeah, he said the first one is Nemanja Vidic. Nemanja Vidic. And again, is this young people, to me, youngsters, there's a lot half my age, that are the same ones that push this Van Dijk is amazing, generational defender. Van Dijk is playing in an era that is nowhere near the calibre that Vidic was playing in. And I can say that because Ousmane Dembele has just won the Ballon d'Or, so he's therefore the best player in the world. Dembele. I think of the T90 era, that sort of early 2000 era, and I could probably name 40, 50 players from then that would absolutely walk to the Ballon d'Or. And Vidic was playing in that era and was a monster in that era. Nemanja Vidic would put his head where other people were scared to put their feet. He was the captain of the team. He won Premier Leagues, FA Cups, Champions League. Was 2 times Premier League Player of the Year, which, as I said in a previous video, I believe he's the only defender to ever win it, let alone win it twice. Yet he's overrated. So is it recency bias? Like I say, I watched the guy. He was absolute monstrous. Incredible. An incredible partnership with Rio Ferdinand. One would do the dirty work, i.e. Vidic, clatter people, like I say, put his head in where people were scared to put their feet, and Rio would sweep up and play the ball out nice. I don't see how these people are suddenly saying that he's overrated. I can only imagine that they are of an age where they didn't watch football then. Because you cannot have watched that guy and said he's overrated. And what gets me more is that the greatest manager that this probably there's ever been, he's up there in that conversation. I mean, for me, obviously he is the GOAT. Alex Ferguson, a guy who is that dominant, has that many dominant teams, yet supposedly fielded all of these players for years that are overrated. I've heard it again with like Gary Neville, David Beckham, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes. They're all overrated, yet they was dominant for like 20 years. You need to give your head a wobble, because that's not possible. And the thing that I always hear said is, oh yeah, but they were carried by a good team around them. But apparently half of them were overrated. So what is half a team carrying the other half to dominance for a decade, 20 years? Make it make sense. So another one, Ji-sung Park. Ji-sung Park was overrated. Oh right, okay. So this guy said, oh yeah, he was just good at man marking. He was bloody good at that. And he marked one of the best players, and one of these players I was referring to, that nowadays would piss the Ballon d'Or in his sleep, Pirlo. Totally marked him out of a tie. So much so that Fergie says Park is his biggest regret that he didn't play him in the final against Barcelona. And if he'd have played him in the final against Barcelona, they'd have probably won. But he's overrated. It's nonsense. I had to, obviously it was through the podcaster, but I said to my mate at work, I have to remind you that Ji-sung Park scored the first goal at your place in the Champions League semi-final. Ji-sung Park scored a number of vital goals for us. And yes, he had an engine and would run and would work and would mark people if he was told to. They are parts of the game of football, are they not? That helps a team win games of football and titles. So how can that be overrated? And I feel like there's a bit of this social media and Ronaldo Messi effect in all of this, because they put up phenomenal numbers for so long. It seems like scoring, unless you score hundreds of goals, you're rubbish. It's a joke. Erling Haaland, right? He's a good player. He's a good goal scorer. Scores lots of goals. Shame he plays for that lot. But obviously he's a good striker. He scores loads of goals. But Roy Keane said he's like a League One player. And I get what he's saying. He's very good at that and he scores lots of goals. But his all-round football is not great. And then people rave like he's amazing, and players like Ji-sung Park and David Beckham and that are overrated. What? Because he just sticks the ball in the net? That's the smallest. That's like the end part of the play. You have to have all the stuff precede it to be in a position to put the ball in the net. It's a joke. And then the other one they said was Phil Jones, because obviously Fergie's comments on him, and I was like, well, to be fair, it was his body let him down. Fergie made them comments because he saw real potential in him, but his body let him down. So yeah, he wasn't massively overrated by people. It was just based on the fact that Fergie said he could be one of our best ever players. So that makes him overrated. So then I got to thinking, obviously, about Vidic and the likes of Keanes and Beckhams and Neville and all that, all them being overrated. And then I thought, well, it must be like a different generation recency thing. And then I wanted to have a chat, because what do you guys think? Because I think that football was better back then, but I feel like these lot didn't watch it and they know football as it is now and they think, oh, this is all amazing. But as I said, if Dembele is the best in the world, I could probably name 40-50 players from that early 2000s era that would walk the Ballon d'Or now. So that therefore tells me that the standard of football was better then. So obviously there are things that are better now. Players are fitter, the pitches are better. But to me, that's about it. To me now, it's if you can run far and fast and you're physical, you've got a shot at being a Premier League player. There's less talent. There's less football talent. It's the Pep effect, I suppose. It's all very regimented, system, tactical. And I heard people saying it's technically better. It's not. It's nowhere near. My favourite player ever, my favourite player to watch play football is Ronaldinho. There is no one anywhere near his level on the football now. Go and watch him. Watch Ronaldinho. I mean, the only one really that you've got now is Lamine Yamal. Can you tell me anybody else that's that sort of mould of player? I mean, Pep Guardiola bought Jack Grealish for 100 million. Maverick player. Used to take people on, win free kicks, run with the ball. Coached it right out of him. Ruined him. Because of all this system, tactical rubbish that they serve up now. So, but is it social media and all the data and analysts and whatnot? But does that mean it's better? I didn't need to sift through data to tell me who was running games of football for United. It was Paul Scholes. That's it. Paul Scholes pulling the strings. And everybody around him doing their job. Roy Keane doing his job for the team, dragging the team on. Now, you look at the data, who's made the most passes? The centre-backs. How is that better? Please tell me. But, yeah, it's just, it makes me laugh. And then I wonder, so my father-in-law, his favourite ever player is George Best. Now, I didn't watch him. I've obviously seen the clips, seen some clips, and know the history. But was George Best better than the likes of Ronaldinho, etc.? Was he as good? And now, are you telling me that George Best couldn't play in this era now? Ronaldinho was making mugs of elite defenders. I mean elite defenders. You're telling me that Van Dijk would be a problem for him? It's nonsense. It's a joke. But what is it? Am I just old? Is it nostalgia? Let me know your thoughts, because I'd love to hear thoughts, young or old. Older than me, younger than me, because I need to get to the bottom of it, because it's doing me head in. It's just nonsense. But I did think to myself, like my mate at work, will he be having the same conversation when he's my age with someone half his age, and will he be on about Lamine Yamal? So, I don't know, I just feel like the absolute disrespect, especially of United, them United teams, United legends, all them games, all them titles, all them accolades, everything they've done, yet everyone just keeps banding about they were overrated. Rio's overrated, Vidic is overrated, Neville, Beckham, Scholes, Keane, Andy Cole, all overrated. Well, how have they got all of them medals then? And it did make me laugh. I said to him, listen mate, Ryan Giggs could rock up into Arsenal's changing room, give all of their first 11 a winner's medal, and still have more than them. Overrated. Anyway, like I say, let me know your thoughts in the comments. It'd be good to get some other views on it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Lovely old job.